Hi, I'm Sergio Tafolla, and you are watching The Chop Shop.
Sergio, how are you?
I'm great, Jesus. How about you?
Good, good. Thank God.
Let me
Thank
let me
God.
rephrase that. I'm blessed.
You are. We are blessed.
Exactly.
We are blessed. You know what's ironic? When I first met you, I walked in, and I knew about. I didn't have never personally met you,
Okay.
but I knew about you. Um, so I know you. How long have you been in the business?
Probably over 20 years full time. I did start part time
Okay.
at the same office that you actually did, a better service,
Oh wow.
years ago.
Okay.
So I started there part time, stayed part time for a while. It wasn't until I decided to get married, which is, I guess, it comes down to 25 years. When I was about ready to get married, I just said, I'm going to take a plunge. I'm not going to work two jobs and be married at the same time. So I quit. I was a manager for Ralph's Grocery. And
Okay.
I stopped being a manager for Ralph's Grocery and working real estate part time just because I wanted to devote myself to my marriage and to real estate, really.
25 years.
25 years.
Happy anniversary.
We're getting remarried this year, October 25th or something like that. We're
You-
renewing our vows. We had the reception at the La Marta Golf Course. We're going back there this year again.
Nice.
Reserved the place again, and we're going to go there.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Get that date right, because I know.
Well, our anniversary is October 23rd, and
Oh,
I know
okay.
it's that weekend of the 23rd, but my anniversary is the 23rd. Yeah, that's a very memorable day for me.
Awesome. How long? How did you meet your wife?
I met her over the phone. She was actually a receptionist at a real estate office, and one late Friday evening, I was calling because I was going to show property, and she worked for actually another Century 21, Jervis and Associates,
All right.
and she was a receptionist, a night receptionist. And when I called to the office, and I said, is the property in El Celinda, which is a street in Bell Gardens, still available? And she said, no, that's already sold, sir. And then I said, thank you, young lady. I said, have a great weekend this weekend. And she said, I'm going to have a really good weekend. I said, really? Yeah. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm going to be at a retreat with my church. And I said, wow, so you're going to be at a retreat for church? And that kind of triggered a conversation. Now, I had no idea what she looked like. I had no idea whether we would hit it off and everything else. But
Oh wow.
true story is, we were married a year later. In October the following year, we were married. So that's how quickly. So we dated for about 9 months. We're engaged for 45 days. We just said, let's just get married. And our first son, Christian, was born almost 2 years exactly after our wedding.
What's your wife's name?
Monica.
Monica.
Our nickname is Pumpkin. So Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. So
Mhm.
congratulations and happy anniversary to both of you.
Thank you, Jesus.
When you met her, where was your first date at? Now I have to ask that question. Where did you guys go out?
When I met her, I went to her office just to meet her to see if what she looked like. And I had no idea what she would look like. I was kind of a little bit discouraged. Was kind of hopeful she didn't look like me, Not to be shallow about it, but then when I met her, I said, "Wow, she's gorgeous."
Was it
Um,
almost like love at first sight? Is that what we're going with?
It had to be. When I saw her, I said she's really really. I mean, my wife's very good looking. Some of my friends said, "Don't get your hopes up. She's going to meet some guy who's young, cute, and buffed," which I was really offended because that meant to them that I wasn't young, cute, or buffed. So so I said, "Wait a minute, guys." So I
Prove them
went.
wrong.
Yeah. So I went to the office, and so when I got to the office, one of my old friends happens to be walking towards the receptionist, and he said, "Hey, Sergio, what are you doing here?" Because I know some people in the industry, and I didn't want to tell him it was some sort of creepy love connection that I might have with the receptionist. So I just kind of played it off and asked for one of the other guys that was there. So I'm here to see so and so, and he said, "I don't think he's here, but come to my office." So I got just a glance of my wife, and I just saw her there, and
Oh.
but I couldn't formally introduce. Hi, I'm the guy you met on the phone. That
So
we may
she
have
had no clue at this time.
she guessed that it was me because it was closing hours. I was gonna actually meet her. I was there to meet her.
So she knew you were going over.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So
Yeah.
we had already set a date to meet on Tuesday evening after she got out of work, and we just were gonna meet. Really, maybe get some coffee. But we ended up going to Vaughn's across the street. There was a Vaughn's right across the street on Florence and Paramount and Downey, where the
Okay.
CVS is.
Yeah.
And we just got some bread for her parents' Bible study that they were having, and that was kind of our first date. We went to Vaughn's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so that obviously escalated to let's go out and
Yeah. So then we started dating for a little bit. It seemed, she came from a really good family. Her parents were very strict. My intentions were always sincere, so I did whatever they wanted me to do to date her and everything else, and followed all the rules. She invited me to go to her Christmas party, which I did go to, the Jervis and Associates Christmas party. And we had a blast and everything else. And it was just, we were inseparable. For a year, we were just inseparable. We were together everywhere. 9 months into it, it was just, it wasn't for no urgency or no nothing. I said, you know what, I'm ready for this. I'd want to get married. And
how old were you?
I was 29 years old. So I wasn't young anymore. My biological clock was ticking.
All right.
So I was 29.
I could just imagine, I'm in my mind, right? We should recruit this guy.
Oh,
Jervis.
For Jervis, yeah, I was there at the Christmas party. They knew who I was. They knew I was a realtor. I knew I'd put the deals together with some other people. But she quit her job. She quit her job right after we started dating. She was working as a preschool teacher.
Okay.
So she just kind of did that, and she ended up quitting. And I think right when we were about to get married also, they talked to her. They said, obviously he's competition and you're answering the phones. And they had a system where she would take the lead calls and assign them to agents. So
Floor time.
For floor time. So she would assign the floor time. So they thought it would be a good idea. And so she ended up quitting. She was, once we got married, she stayed at home for the most part.
Okay.
So she was a stay-at-home mommy for most of our kids for probably 17, 20 years.
And how many kids do you have now?
We have 5 kids. Christian, our firstborn, was born 2 years after our wedding. And we just I have a 4-year-old child. I'm officially a senior citizen. I'm 55 years old now.
All right.
And I have a 4-year-old son who I just started coaching his basketball team.
All right.
And, I'm a senior citizen out there, and my son hasn't even hit kindergarten yet. That's the baby. And I have 3 in between, which I guess they fall into the cracks because, the most notable is our first being 22 and our baby being 4. But we have a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old. We had 3 kids in 3 years.
Wow.
So, and then we have a 15-year-old John Paul, and then the baby is baby Sergio.
Oh, okay. So the last one took your name.
The last one took my name. She wanted me to name the first one Sergio. And funny story, back then my brother-in-law and my brother both had their parents or their dad's name, my dad's and my father-in-law's. And both of them had ruined the father's credit because they had the same name and same address. So I said, but I'm going to name the baby Sergio, or I named him now. I said, because by the time he's 18 and wants to get stuff on credit, even if he ruins my credit, I don't need it anymore. I'll be in my 70s.
You'll be like, he'll probably fix my credit.
Yeah, he'll fix my credit at that point. He'll give me credit.
That's
so
up.
that was the reasoning for not naming the first one Sergio.
That's what's up. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you went from being part-time agent to a full-time agent, newlywed. 2 years later, you have your firstborn. How has the business changed from when you started to where you're at now?
Dramatically. It really is. From the technology that's involved with, social media. Some of the basics are still there. We're still dealing with people. It's still an emotional process. They still are looking at homes that they need to like.
Correct.
That has never changed. The approach in itself, actually, the do not call list didn't exist when I was first in the business. So you could call whoever you wanted to. There was no such thing as can't call us. There was good business to be made in cold calling. There was good business to be made in mailing. Not a lot of people were mailing. Some of the trends we started in the Southeast. So the business part of it, the meeting someone that has a need to sell their home or buy a home, that hasn't changed. And negotiating a transaction hasn't changed, and which is what I really like, because moving forward into the future, when we start thinking about what will change, it doesn't matter the technology, the approach to get the business, because you're still putting a buyer together with a seller and negotiating everything in between and doing the same process. The way to get the business maybe has changed dramatically, but the actual transaction in itself, with the additional 49 forms that they've probably added, that still remains the same. It's still a people business. It's still an emotional purchase for the person that's buying it. It's still, the seller's got a lot of stress and nerves about what's happening with the sale. That has never changed. That's the beauty of this business.
Did you do a lot of listings in the beginning, or?
I've always focused on listings. For a while there, I didn't. My weekends, I never worked. I actually took the weekends off to be with my family. I had small children, so I wanted to. So come Friday, I stopped working. Come Monday morning, I started working. A lot of people were double ending their transactions and their listings because they were doing open houses on the weekends. But I have three small children, 3, 2, and 1 years old. We had Disney passes, Knott's passes, and everything else. My focus in my business probably has been providing a good life for my family. That's been my main motivation. That's been my main focus. And I've probably have left a lot of business on the table because I've chosen to be with my family instead of working all weekends and everything. I'm working since the pandemic. We've had to obviously adjust, and since we could work from home now off of our cell phones, then I'm able to do a little work from home if I have to. But I'm present. But before we had cell phones and laptops where we could be mobile, we had to be in the office in case a client called. I made sure that they knew I'm not available on the weekends, and I just took, for maybe 10 years in a row, I took every Saturday and Sunday off, and just spent it with the family. I was a family man first, who happened to be in real estate. It was just that was it. I served. It was God first. I needed to serve God, so I made sure we did everything that we did. Go on retreats. I've been a minister for about 25 years to teenagers, so that was always serving God, being there for my family, and real estate was really the third thing I did. But I've learned that God is very good. I've learned that to trust. I've learned that if I do my thing and and trust in our Lord, serve Him, serve others, be there for my family, the business comes. You're working in a different. When you're not stressed out about the next deal, how I'm going to get the next deal and everything else, and you're just doing life in a sense of, let me just do everything I can to be the best person I can be, serve God as much as I can, be there for my family. I've been all my kids' coaches for their sport. I've been there for all their games. I've been there for other kids, other parents' kids. I've filled up an ice chest filled with drinks, and just be there for the football games and pass out everybody. Hey, Mr. Tafolla, thanks. I take them Gatorades or whatever. I wouldn't trade that for any extra double centurion, triple centurion. Not the memories that I have with my kids. I'm the 4-year-old's coach in basketball, which I have no business doing, but I would never trade double centurion, triple, quadruple centurion, which I'm pretty close to being double centurion anyway. That'll come on its own. But I would never trade that for the memories that I have with my family.
And the impact you do on other people's lives.
That has its own blessings in return, because a lot of the kids that I've ministered to, somehow the one that I just got off the phone 5 minutes ago, she was a youth within the program. Now she's married to an attorney, and they're about to go into escrow in Long Beach.
Wow.
And how many times have I done that? I went to a wedding Friday last week, and I told JJ, fun fact, out of these people at this wedding right now, referrals that they've said, hey, call my friend Sergio, who's a realtor, or they themselves have sold a home or bought a home, I counted at least 20 sales within that, just at that wedding party. So is it rewarding? By far. I can't even measure it.
Of course. It's such a blessing when you, and I know you could understand where I'm coming from, when you serve God, and God's grace comes in so many other ways.
You know what? One thing I would like to just almost pause, and I don't want this to be missed, is we can never outgive God. I've tried really hard, and God, I've never been able to outgive God. I've been away at retreats, serving Him and serving God in a way, coming home on Monday morning from serving all weekend, very tired, and have somebody at my door saying, hey, you know what, I was trying to get a hold of you over the weekend, but I knew you were out of town. I want to sell my house at my own doorstep. That's how interesting it's been. So I don't want this to be missed. We can never outgive God.
No.
And I can really attest to that.
Yep. I think Jim Rohn sometimes says, he says it in a different way. He says the mysteries of the mind. And then I tend to say God works in such a great way, even though some people might say mysterious way. I don't think so. It's God's grace looking over us.
Yeah.
And I'm a true believer in that.
Very, very blessed. And right now in this market, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yes.
And, things, people are worried about this, worried about that. I'm not as worried as, maybe some people might be, because I do trust. Trust is very important to me. I trust in God. I've built up a lot of trust with past clients, and I was showing JJ the numbers. In the last 18 months, I think I'm at 75 to 80% referrals in business. And I almost hit double centurion last year, probably a few more sales.
Yeah. I have to ask this question. And I know you could really, I know we're talking on that topic. How important is faith in this business?
Faith not only in God is very, very important. You have to have trust, faith and trust.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know that God is there and God exists, and you have to believe that He's going to provide. That God is greater than the feds changing the rates and than the National Association of Realtors changing the commission structure. Just to know that God is still in control. We haven't lost that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is very important, number one. We have to trust our Lord, because we're here and you're here, whatever production you have, I have, that was something that I personally believe it was God sent to me. And until God says, I'm changing the rules, I'm not sending you any more business or whatever, then I'm not really worried about that. So faith is very important. When you think of it in the business aspect, you have to trust also in what you surround yourself with. By that I mean, you have certain skills as a realtor that you've learned that have helped you put a lot of deals together, for the most part, a lot of agents. You have to trust in that skill that you have, that's going to carry you forward.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be more than ever, be it a company that you can trust, somebody that you can believe that is doing the best that they can to stay on top of things, to do whatever changes need to take place to encourage those changes. And at the same time, to trust the leadership that's involved. The day that I no longer trust my compa, JJ, who's the owner of the company, Arnulfo, you guys in management, is the day that I leave this company. I've stayed, and I get a lot of attractive offers to go, but I do trust the leadership here, and I do trust the company here. The day that trust is lost somehow, then I'm gone. There's no reason to be here. Yeah. So trust in that sense is very important there.
That's awesome. I think one time I heard you say compa.
He is my compa.
Yeah,
he baptized our baby Sergio. I always would tease him. I would tease him for many years. If I ever have another child, I think I want you to be my compadre.
Wow.
So I told him that I've been here for about maybe 15 years. So I would tell him that all the time. If I ever have another child, he goes, really, compa, you want to joke around like that? You already have 4 kids and you're kind of old, I said, if I ever have another child, you're going to be my compa. One day I just told wife's pregnant. I think I almost passed out when I found out, because I was turning 50 and finding out that my wife is having a baby was really scary to me.
How did you find out?
It was, she called me and she said, I think I'm pregnant. But it's been 15 years since our last baby. And I said, really? And she said, and then one day she says, I stopped off at the Dollar Tree and the test came back positive. So I said, do you mind if we not put our lives on hold for a 99-cent test? Can we go to Kaiser and get an actual pregnancy test? So she was kind of upset now. So she said, oh man, I'm gonna be so mad at you if I'm pregnant. That's what she said. Her and the baby are inseparable and everything else. So she sends me the pregnancy test from Kaiser. She's at Kaiser. She sends me the pregnancy test and it has a double line. So I'm looking for a cross to say positive, but I'm thinking a line means negative. So I said, great, it's double negative. And then I Googled.
Oh, my God.
Sorry. I Googled. I said, pregnancy test positive.
So only a guy would think I would probably think the same thing.
I'm thinking it's negative twice.
Two negative.
Negative to the power,
Yeah, we're
negative
good.
Square.
And no, that's positive.
Yeah, so double line is negative. And I'm thinking,
God, this is
and
so
I Googled
funny.
it, and I lost all the blood in my face probably because I looked like I was going to pass out. And then Alma, which was one of our TCs here, she walks in the office. She walked into my office. She said, are you okay? And I said, I'm going to be a dad again. And she said, but you're 50. And I said, I know. She said, when he's 30, you're going to be 80. I said, yeah, that pretty much is the math. And she says, are you even going to be alive then? And I said, I sure hope so at this point. And so I was upstairs in my office when my wife texted me the picture. She didn't call me. She didn't take my call for a little bit. And she just texted me a picture. Like she said, I'm going to be so mad at you. But Gosh, little baby Sergio. We call him SJ. His name is Sergio Jeremiah.
Oh,
Such a
nice.
blessing to the family. It's like he was born right before the pandemic, so it's like having a little puppy in the house. All my kids had to come home from college, so now we have college kids, high school kids living there, but with a new baby. Then everybody had like a toy to play with, making faces at the baby, and we were locked down in the pandemic. So he couldn't be a bigger blessing to us in the
That's
family.
awesome. God is good.
Yeah, so that's how I found out.
Awesome.
Somehow my life sends me a lot of funny moments.
I heard you speak once via, I don't know how someone sent a video, and I don't know how, it was a couple of years ago before I joined Realty Masters.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, that's Sergio Tafolla, right? And then I finally heard you one time speak at a meeting, and then I heard you at the Christmas.
Mm.
And I said, oh, wow, I've never really sat down and talked to you. I mean, I'll pass by your office numerous times. But every time I speak to you, it's always been a blessing. I appreciate that, because when I come into this office, my first time coming here, it's pretty intimidating coming from an outside coming in. And I remember when I first met you, and obviously I'm like this short, right? And your first words were like, hey, welcome aboard. And I said, wow. I remember it was Fabian first. I know his words exactly what he told me. And then you were the opposite of Fabian. You kind of like, hey, whenever you need any help, we're here for you. And I felt that as you're taking me under my wing. And I just remember always saying, man, if any day I could actually bring something to your business, like, who am I, right? And I mean, I see you day in and day out. Probably when you're there, you're probably one of the last ones to leave when you are here. And your schedule, I notice you're very precise with your schedule. There's no wasting time with you.
No, I do have a very full plate. My wife went back to work as a youth minister, so she actually works at the church now.
Okay.
We do have 5 kids. Obviously, the older ones are kind of independent. Back about 3 years ago, my mother had a stroke, and she became bedridden. She's paralyzed now. So I spend at least 1 to 2 days a week with her, where I go and I sit there, I take her outside, I have lunch with her. I'm very close to my mom, so it's really hard for me. She lives actually in Downey.
Okay.
And so while she was first initially paralyzed, the family had to adjust. So we had to do 24-hour shifts pretty much, taking care of her. So thankfully, we're able to work mobile. So I was working from my mom's house like twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. I was doing 3 times a week when it first started.
Okay.
I gave up one of my weekend days to spend that time with her, taking care of her, because she needs to be physically taken out of bed with somebody helping with her feet and put her in a wheelchair. We bought a van that can take her now to church, where she likes to really go a lot. Having 5 kids, having a baby of 4 years old, being a father. Thursdays, actually, in a few hours from now, and JJ knows, everybody knows, but whoever knows me personally knows, is my date night, dinner date night with my wife. No kids, nobody else, just me and my wife. We go out to dinner every Thursday, whether it's a nice steak at Del Rey or in a little Italian spot we have in Uptown Whittier. She doesn't drink at all, so I take myself a really good bottle of wine, and we sit there and just kind of enjoy each other's company. So knowing that I have to be a good father, knowing that I'm trying really hard to be a good husband, a good father to my kids, be present for them. I never want my kids to actually tell me, you work so much. I grew up and I never really felt that I knew you. I tell my kids that I love them every day. I tell my wife that I love her every day. I call my mom and dad, who are still alive, and tell them that I love them. And I want to be there for my mom, because these are her final years regardless. And I want to make sure that I'm there, because I don't want to have that regret later. I didn't spend time with her.
Yeah.
So that, and being able to manage, 40 to 50 transactions a year can take a lot of time, and still come home at a decent hour, and not come home at 9, 10 o'clock at night every day. It's gonna be hard on my marriage. So because of that, I really can't afford to waste time. I don't go to many lunches or events, or even, sadly, some of the little lunch and learns, whatever. I don't go to any of those, because my time is very precious. There's only certain minutes of the day. And from the time that I get up in the morning, I already have to be somewhere and everything else. And in order not to lose my mind, pretty much, I want to make sure that first part of the week I schedule, what day am I going to go see my mom? I call my sister, who now lives with her. What day can I take dinner off your hands? Because I do take dinner. I eat with my mom. For me, it's lunch, because my mom, when you're older, you eat very early. So they're having dinner, but I'm actually having lunch. So I take lunch at least once a week over there, or I take her some pan dulce. So yes, I have a very tight schedule, but interestingly enough, there's time for everything. There's time to produce. There's time to, there's time to produce. There's time to put deals together. There's time to show property.
There's
Pa
time
todo hay tiempo, like they say in Spanish. Pa todo, there's time for everything.
There's time to record a podcast.
Time to record a podcast. See, you told me. Thank you for the honor too. By the way, it's it's something that I could put on my schedule and say, okay, we're gonna do this, and life is good, Jesus. I really someday will look back at my life and say, I don't think I have any regrets with life, in a sense of some days look back and say, I should have worked more. Maybe I should have bought more investment property, but. I love family. I love being at family. I love serving the church too. I mean, that's one of my passions. If I could make that my career, I probably wouldn't be in real estate. I'd probably be working somewhere in the church community, because I just love the peace that comes with it. I love being with. I love my wife. I mean, we're going to remarry each other for 25 years. I almost think myself as 6'4", big, mean-looking dude that I may look. I'm actually, just to think of what a great wife I've been blessed with, just is something that almost becomes tearful. It sounds kind of like, shut up, but nonetheless, I'm very blessed, and I've loved her from the day that I met her, and never stopped loving her, and hopefully that's, I could love her to the day I die.
That is awesome. I mean, that actually speaks volumes of who you are, speaks volumes of the way you, because I'm a big believer, a lot of things come from God, and so when you understand His Word, the passion that comes within, and then you just see His love manifest in all your aspects, in your business, in your family, with your wife, with your kids, sports, real estate. It's just His Word manifesting through you. So that is very awesome to look up to you on that end.
Yeah, one of the things that I shared with somebody came in here, they were from the church, they were picking up a donation check for one of their events, and I shared with them something, and I said, in my prayers, I really pray hard and ask God to give me, instead of praying for Jesus, I need more transactions. Jesus, I need, send me some more money. Send me another investment or maybe a flip or something. I've learned, and I've tried to discipline myself to just ask God for more of Him. So just give me more of you, Jesus. Give me more. And I know this is not a preaching podcast, but I said, Jesus, give me more of you. Because if I have more of God in my life, then I'm a better husband. If I have more of God in my life, I'm a better son to my parents. If I have more of God in my life, then I'm a better father. So it's just, Lord, just give me more of you.
That's awesome. I'm into that.
Yeah.
And I always say we're put in a position to actually, I'm a big believer that I know I'm here for a purpose, and this is a platform to share His Word. And I love that about you, and I love that about, God's Word, that He's always shining amongst us.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the time. Told you it was going to take like nothing, right? We're in like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know how much we're chopping it up for.
Wow. Yeah.
But I think we got to do round 2. What do you think, Sergio?
Whenever you want, Jesus, let me know.
It's been a great blessing actually speaking to you. Continue wishing you nothing but the best, declaring you a very successful life, and happy anniversary.
Thank you, Jesus.
Maybe we could do a podcast right at the wedding.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That would be fun. I'll let my wife know.
There you go.
I found the old video from our wedding. I found it. We were actually remodeling our kitchen, and in one of the boxes it said Sergio and Monica's wedding, and it's an actual DVD of our wedding. So I said, hey, how about for the wedding, I get the DJ to just put that up on the wall.
There you go.
So the people that were there for the first round could actually see themselves of what they looked like 25 years ago.
There you go. Round 2.
Round two. Amen.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate
Sergio
your time.
Tafolla, it's been such a blessing once again.
God bless you, Jesus. Thank you.
Likewise.
Appreciate it.